right.
Chairperson of this evening's event, or Deputy General Secretaries of North America, Deputy General Secretary of Trinidad and Tobago and the Caribbean, our members of the Central Executive, more particularly the two members who are the hosts of this evening, the Secretaries for Youth and Culture, or panelists and those persons who are listening and viewing us on the various platforms. Pleasant evening. At our acceptance of this portfolio, this new executive, this new Central Executive of the Spiritual Baptist Faith, several things happened. We gave commitments to continue to build the Spiritual Baptist Faith. More particularly in my acceptance speech as Secretary General, I quoted from Joseph Goldstein, who said that we cannot stop the waves, but we can learn to surf. Ladies and gentlemen, notwithstanding the challenges the Central Executive continue to face since assuming office, we've been surfing with God being our helper. We gave the undertaking that we'll continue the process of building, such that generations of spiritual Baptist practitioners will benefit from our work as we have benefited from the work of others. We are executing several initiatives, and today I'm pleased that both Secretaries for Youth and Culture, Teacher Laura Calendar Spring, and Sister Chatelle Jones, who is the one leading this particular Canadian segment, are hosting this activity themed Voice for the Voiceless. In other words, we are giving a space to the youth to become more vulnerable, a space to share their thoughts, their concerns about issues facing them or others in society. This is an opportunity for us to gather the lived experiences of our youth and use the emerging themes to clarify the issues as we reposition our faith. We look forward to the proceedings, which as always will be thought-provoking and enlightening. This event is now called to order. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Carrington, and all the others. Before Sister Chatelle take over, let me thank all of you on TV land and all the executive, the Secretary General, and all the others, the Apostolic Patriarch, and all invited guests and the panelists. It is an honor for us to serve as Secretary of the Spiritual Baptist Faith for the Youth and Culture section, and today being the second segment of the Youth Symposium, it is the Canada version or the Canada segment, and Sister Chatelle is responsible for such. But let me say that in every segment that we have, it is with an intention that at the end of the 3 segments that is scheduled, that we will compile a document and we will put it for a small sum so that the general public and our community, which is the Spiritual Baptist Faith, will be able to read and understand the mindset that we have, the mindset of the young people, the mindset of the women, the mindset of the adult, so that they will understand that we are here, we are hearing them. We are hearing them. We may become the voice for them because they may be voiceless. So we are letting them know that in putting that in book, they must be able to read it and understand that there's somebody that is listening. There's people that is listening, and we are showing them that in doing these 3 segments that we are all listening. We have the ear, so that we could speak for them because we hear them. So that is our reason for such. But let me approach the throne of grace so that we will understand that in everything we do, we must go before the throne of grace, for He's most righteous and eternal God. Approach your throne of grace this evening, oh God, to thank you for the day that is past and gone. We thank you, oh God, for this hour. We want to thank you for each and every panelist. We want to thank you for Sister Chantel was able to call all these participants. We want to thank you for, oh God, for Dr. Carrington and all the other secretaries. We want to thank you for Canada. We want to thank you for the USA. We want to thank you for Trinidad and Tobago. We want to thank you for the Caribbean on the whole. We want to thank you, oh God, because you are the God all by yourself. You did it before, and we know that you will do it again. So we are anticipating a good result tonight. So we are anticipating that you on your throne in heaven, most righteous and eternal, you will do it again. You did it before, and I will repeat it again. You did it before, and you will do it again. So we want to thank you. We want to thank you for each and every one that is on the platform. We want to thank you for everyone that is about to log in. I pray, oh God, that they go with something tonight, and questions will be asked and answers can be given. We want to thank you in a special way for other secretaries. Each and every one of us that have our various tasks to perform. Bless us, we pray. These and all other mentioned mercies, I ask and pray with thanksgiving through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen and amen and amen. And it's all over now to Sister Chantel Jones. Thank you.
I'll just go ahead and pass it to Teacher Ali, who's actually going to introduce all of the panel members for this evening.
Pleasant good evening to our Honorable General Secretary, Dr. Carrington, to our Deputy Secretary General, Mother Hilary Ned, Bishop Maurice, to all other secretaries present, Secretary of IT, Social Services, Education, and to all our distinguished panelists, a pleasant good afternoon, our special invited guest. A pleasant good evening. I was asked to read Dr. Janet, how could I forget our Secretary of Finance? My apologies. I was asked to read a short bio on these wonderful people that have their time here this evening, and it goes as follows. First up on the list is Sister Danica Grant. Missionary Grant was born in Canada and is an active nurse. She's best known for communication and writing skills, calm under pressure, and can handle almost anything thrown at her. She's a mother of 2 boys and enjoys worshiping among brethren in Christ. Shalene Drakes Tull. Helping people connect and engage through storytelling and strategic communicating has always been a passion for Shalene. For all of us, answering the question, who are you, is integral to creating your story and standing confidently in your truth. Shalene has shared the stories of diversity, equity, and inclusion at the Toronto District School Board, Deloitte, and others. For the 2nd year, Shalene will instruct the Modern Day Griot Project at the University of Toronto, Scarborough to support, inspire, and uplift Black students. She has been awarded the Equity and Diversity in the Arts residency in the university's Art, Culture, and Media department. A woman of faith, Shalene is currently a member of One Church, to formerly known as Agincourt Pentecostal Church. Lisa Marie Stevens. Lisa was born and raised in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. She is the 2nd of 5 children, and all of whom were raised with the fear of the Lord. She gave her life to God at the tender age of 15 and has been doing his bidding ever since. Lisa is no stranger to mission work and has been on mission trips to Canada, America, the Caribbean, and Africa. She has also been one to serve others as modeled by the Master himself. Her natural nurturing disposition has led her to obtain her nursing degree and has worked in the emergency department, acute medicine, respirology, and now in the director of care for a national chain of retirement homes. Lisa always finds a way to incorporate her Christian values in all she does, from nursing patients, feeding the less fortunate, or praying with prostitutes and drug addicts. Lisa currently lives with her husband and young son in the Toronto area. She has been an ordained deaconess for 20 years and is very active and dedicated member of St. Francis Spiritual Baptist Church under the leadership of Archbishop Hilton Hadaway in Toronto. Kimberly N. Tull, believer, daughter, sister, aunt, friend, activist, strategist, connector. Kimberly Tull has more than 25 years experience in anti-racism, anti-oppression, community development, and relationship building work in her current capacity at U of T, Scarborough. She works as the Director, Community Partnerships and Engagement. Her role involves rethinking traditional institutional systems of power and privilege, and raising awareness and understanding of the barriers to access to the post-secondary institutions. Kimberly has a passion for working with young people, aiding in the establishment and formally leading the New Faith Ministry of First Baptist Church, Toronto. She is also the co-founder of the Miss Education Project, longstanding member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, and past vice president of Taibu Community Health Center. She has received recognition and several highly respected awards for her work in community development, partnership holding, race relations, and leadership. Lynette Cupidour. Lynette was born in Trinidad and migrated to Canada over 30 years ago. She is the proud mother of 2 amazing children and grandmother of 4 beautiful granddaughters. Lynette has been working as a social worker and Caribbean settlement advisor in the Malton community for over 25 years. One of Lynette's passions is working with families and seniors, assisting with whatever their needs may be. Lynette is also very active in the church. She currently teaches the United Spiritual Baptist Church Children Ministry with weekly online Bible sessions for approximately 18 young people from Canada, UK, and USA. Lynette is very passionate about her spirituality. One of her favorite Bible passages, Philippians 4:13, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Lolita Richards. Lolita is a public speaker, social media coordinator, and partnership developer with Youth Speaking, an organization that goes into schools all over the GTA to have youth share their stories of lived experiences with topics like mental health and wellness, self-care, LGBTQ issues, anti-racism, and much more. For over a decade, Lolita has been using her voice and experience to empower youth in undeserved communities in various organizations like Tropicana, Warren Woods, Malvern Family Resource Center, and East Scarborough Storefront. She is very passionate about this work because she was once a youth that experienced homelessness. In 2013, Lolita started Made by Moi providing custom desserts for any occasion. In 2018, Lolita transitioned her business into a free baking program for youth in marginalized communities that ran for 3 years. Chantel Hadaway. Chantel was called to serve God at the age of 12. One of her favorite Bible verses that she often uses is Proverbs 3:5-6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and do not lean on your own understanding. In all your ways, acknowledge him and he will make your straight paths. She is a mental health advocate aspiring to start a nonprofit organization supporting marginalized youth and have experienced racial trauma and anti-racism. loving mother of an 8-year-old boy, full-time frontline healthcare worker in her spare time. Chantel enjoys sewing, baking, reading, going on adventures, going to church and learning new things. Chantel also enjoys taking on new challenges and helping others feel their best. When you undervalue what you do, the world will undervalue who you are. Doing the best at this moment puts you in the best place of the next moment, as she quotes. Donna Drakes. Donna Drakes has been an IT project manager for more than 10 years. She currently works for Infrastructure Ontario, a crown agency that maintains the province involved in infrastructure in career diversity program that ensures that all people are represented and have a voice in the organization. She has worked for companies like Apotex, Scotiabank, and many others. Donna is a certified project management professional. She completed her Bachelor of Commerce at Montreal's Concordia University. In the warmer months, Donna is a member of a professional dragon boat team and has raced in Canada and the USA. Lover of music, she plays the steel pan, piano, and oboe, as well as sings as an active member in her church music program. Donna loves to travel and always has tickets or plans to go somewhere to unwind. Kimberly N. Tull, believer. I think I read her already.
You did.
I did, yes, she was done twice. Last but not least, we have Captain Claire Beckford.
I don't think she's actually online.
But I will introduce her so that I wouldn't have to introduce her again if she joined. Born and raised in the island of Trinidad and Tobago, teacher Claire migrated to Canada in the late 80s. She is the current founder of Hope Ministries, which hosts a weekly Hour of Power online prayer platform, whereby she shares her passion with others for the word of God. When she is not spending time with her church family, she spends her days working for a well-known company and running her own cleaning and clothing business. Teacher Claire holds a prominent position in her home-based church and is a proud grandmother of 4 girls and 1 boy. She enjoys traveling and socializing with peers. Did I miss any of the panelists? No. Okay. And now I have the distinct honor of introducing the moderator for the evening. The moderator of the evening is also our Secretary of Youth and Culture, who is teacher Chantel Jones. She's currently the 2nd Secretary of the Youth and Culture of the Spiritual Baptist Faith Incorporated, and also United Spiritual Baptist Church's Youth Ministry President. Chantel graduated with honors in sociology and criminology and is currently a licensed paralegal. She is a mother of 2 and enjoys spending family time when she's not doing her church duties. Chantel loves to travel, is very social, and is always willing to have a good time. Her motto, make the best out of every situation. Rain does not last forever. Thank you very much for your patience and your time, ladies and gentlemen. Those were the panelists. And now I introduce you our moderator for the evening, teacher Chantel Jones. Thank you.
Amen. Thank you so much. I just want to first say pleasant evening to each and everyone here online, all of my panelists, all of our leaders, reverends, teachers, everybody in their various offices. Thank you so much for joining the live tonight. Anybody that knows me, I'm pretty chill and pretty laid back when I have my discussion. So I just want tonight to be a really open, maybe not necessarily a fun discussion, because you get into some issues that are maybe not so fun, but just a very rewarding discussion amongst us Canadian women that we have here online. So I am just going to jump right into it. I'm definitely just going to be throwing questions out there, and we're just going to kind of get straight into discussion. So no need for the dilly-dally, just because it did take us some time to get started. but I'm looking so forward to just hearing what everybody has to say and how we feel about this women empowerment and young women. So, I mean, our discussion is, or my discussion so much is not just focused on young women, but also just women on a whole and just daily issues and things that we are going through. I think a lot of it starts from our youth and then you grow with it, right? So my questions definitely target just some of the experiences and things that we're going to go through from younghood to adulthood. All right. Sound good? Can I get a thumbs up from everybody? Sound good? All right. So obviously, just because, you know, we're on the Zoom platform, when each other is talking, you know, we always have to mute our mics just so that we can hear everybody clearly, right? All right. Okay. So the first question that I wanted to throw out there, we obviously know, like Dr. Carrington said, that our theme is paving the way for women. And again, like I mentioned, a lot of that paving the way starts from being young to adulthood, right? So what does that theme mean to all of my panelists? And I would definitely love for everyone to kind of jump in on that. What the theme meant to them when I first initially asked you and I told you about the theme, what did you think about it? Anybody can start.
I guess I'll go ahead and start.
I think good after. Oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. It's fine. Go ahead. Okay, sure. Hello, everyone, and pleasant good afternoon to everyone. My name is Lolita. For me, women empowerment, when I hear that, it's about going into industries where women are underrepresented and filling it with spaces, or filling with women who are strong, powerful, who know exactly what they're doing, so that women who are coming up behind us can look at those spaces and feel empowered and know that they are able to go into those spaces and those industries as well.
Awesome, I like that. I did see a side note here. Sorry, someone left a message in the chat. They were saying that just for the panel members that we can all unmute our lines just so that we can kind of have a open conversation and just obviously just be cognizant to whoever's speaking. So Lisa, I know you were going to jump in before Lolita, so you can definitely take the floor.
Sure. Good evening, everybody. Lisa Marie here. When Sister Nikki first came to me with this topic, it actually touched my heart, because when I thought about paving the way for women and what empowerment meant, it meant giving us women authority or power to do something special or particular. It reminded me of us getting our freedom, acknowledging that, yes, we live in a man's world, but let us be empowered that we can be equal, if not better, than our counterpart, the men, allowing us to know that we can achieve just as much greatness as a man can. So when I heard about the empowerment, that's what came to my mind.
Hello, everyone. Lynette here. Welcome, everyone. And I'm so excited to be on this panel. You know, everybody knows Chattel, but I know her for Nikki. And thank you for inviting me, you know. When you connected with me about this particular piece, the first thing that came to my mind is that woman empowerment, yes, but before we became women, we are girls, children. And I think we have to start from the nurturing days, start empowering our young princesses, start from that tender age, empowering them, letting them know that, you know, nothing is too big or too small. The reach is never too high where they cannot reach. Start to encourage them that, you know, they are special, wonderfully made, that they are beautiful, that they are, you know, I have 4 granddaughters, like I said in my bio, and they can acknowledge me with a smile. I always put it in their head that you are princesses. You can aspire greatness. right? So I think if we start in my head, because it's in my bio, I teach the young ones in the church on that level, and I try to encourage them to know that you can do anything that you put your mind to. So empowerment for me starts from a very young age.
You know, I actually like that you definitely said that, because I'm a mom of two girls, and they're in obviously two very different stages of their life. But for my older one, who is a teen now, I think it's really super important to start from, I think I've always kind of done it as she was growing up, but I do think it's important to have those conversations with her, and to always push her, even when she doesn't want to push herself, to let her know, like it really does start, the mentality starts from now, to let them know that they're loved and that they should be respected and that they can do, absolutely anything that anybody else can do. She likes IT and computers and stuff. And she likes things like coding, which is a very male dominated field per se. And I think it's important to just continue that encouragement. So I really do appreciate that. Teacher Q Fedor, I like that. I definitely think it starts from being small and your parents and the influence that they have on you.
And Nikki, if I can continue with that,
yeah, absolutely.
Being in IT myself, and being the only woman in a lot of instances, whether it was in school courses or at work, it meant to me being able to show young women that there is no limitation on career choice or what they can do. Because a lot of people did discourage me from going into the profession that I have today, because women that wasn't something women did. Women went into teaching or into nursing. And so I really think this is a great opportunity not to streamline our young ladies into what we think they should do, but that they can do anything they want to do, whether it's deemed a male profession, which is ridiculous, or something that traditionally Black women don't do, or this person doesn't do, or that person doesn't do. We close doors. And I really saw this as an opportunity to open doors and open minds, so that they can see that whatever it is that they want, it can be theirs.
So I just wanted to jump in. I'm also a mom of two girls, and empowerment to me, when I look at my daughters 6 and 9, is letting them know that their voices matter and they can walk into any space and share their voice. I think as Black women, sometimes that is very difficult. We are put into boxes, sometimes in educational systems, sometimes at work, and we're asked to make ourselves small as to not offend others. But when we make ourselves small, we actually reduce what we can do in the world and the gifts that God has given us. So for me, empowerment is teaching my daughters and all of the young women around me and my peers and the women who are older than me that their voices matter and their stories need to be told as well. And they need to share because we need to hear what they have to say.
Absolutely. I just wanted to throw it out there. When I thought about women empowerment, everybody, since most of us are Canadian, that we just had our election, and we just had one Black female running for the Green Party, right? Running for politics. And I thought about it when I thought about that first question, because I said I wanted to start with just that first question. And I was like, how many of us deep down inside really thought that she even had a chance of actually winning? Because she had some things against her already. The fact that, one thing, yes, she was a woman, but the second thing is that she was Black. Thirdly, she was with a party that, based on Canada's history, has never done very well, right? But I thought about, I remember asking my brothers, I was like, Chris, are you gonna vote for the Black lady? Because without us, she really doesn't have a chance, right? And she's trying for us, for women, for us to have a voice, for Black people to have a space. And he was like, what Black women? And I was like, seriously? You, Henry Paul, like you don't know that she's running? And he's like, it's just the liberals and the conservatives. I'm like, what planet are you on? No, it's not just liberals and conservatives. And it was funny in the moment, but it's a reality that a lot of the times, just like you said, Shalene, we do get placed in these little confined boxes. And when we're not encouraged and stuff and pushed, I'm pretty sure she was definitely encouraged and pushed that she can be anything from that young and tender age growing up. But I just sat there and I thought about it, the fact that it's us that really have to keep empowering each other. And I find that it's something that we, not just as women or Black women, right, but just every woman on a whole, we tend to kind of put each other down instead of lifting each other up. I think, I can't really speak for men because I'm a woman, but I do find that it is something that we tend to do as women when we should be lifting each other up and uprising each other and pushing each other in all of our endeavors. We tend to shut each other down, get jealous of each other. She has this, why don't I have that type thing. So yeah, I really I appreciate some of the comments in regards to what the theme meant for you. Does anybody else want to jump in? Miss Hadley, Miss Danica.
Can I jump in?
Oh, of course. Go ahead, Kim.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone, or good evening. I'm just really thankful to be in this space with you all today. Whenever I hear Black women are coming together, I get very excited. I think part of this, for me, it extends outside of my professional capacity. The paving is the supports, it's the network, it's the soft place to fall, it's the permission to fail and still know that I'm more than enough and I'm still good enough. We often have those conversations as Black women. Dr. Keisha McPherson had mentioned this to myself, and I think Shalene was in the conversation as well, that Black women were not permitted to fail. We want to be everything for everybody. And so when I think about paving the way, it's how I carry myself when I walk down the street, how I celebrate Black women whenever I see them and I root for them. That's paving the way so that the generation who comes behind me, the little ones who are watching it, know that that's how we support each other and we uplift each other. So it's for us to be able to be comfortable in our skin, to know that we're more than enough, to celebrate our truths and to speak our truth and to be confident and empowered in being able to do that. And to lift each other up when we need to and celebrate each other as well. So for me, that's the paving part.
I love it. I love it. Does anybody else want to weigh in before I change the question?
Hi, good evening, everyone. When Sister Nikki reached out and she started to explain about what she was about to do, my first words to myself was, it's about time. I'm in a field that's very domineering when it comes to women, but within the church community, I see that a lot more women are being more bold and they're surfacing up and seeing these things. Sometimes we think these things, but to actually see them come into play, see it become alive in front of you, I just want to be a part of that. Even if it's for the smallest role to play in it, I want to be a part of that because it's also creating a sense of history within the church community. It's something that I can pass down to another generation or generations to come, whether I'm able to voice that to them verbally or to be able to write it in one of my journals and have one of my kids or grandkids or something like that read about it one day and said, hey, well, you know what? This actually happened. So meeting like this with you all, it feels very good and it feels very encouraging knowing that even forget about the racial part, just the fact that women are willing to come together and to express how they feel inside. I'm honored actually to hear what all of you have to say, and I will definitely be taking notes because I want to cherish the moment that we have here today.
I like that. All right. Was there anybody else that wanted, any of the panel members that wanted to weigh in before I go ahead and move on to my next question?
Well, I guess I'm the only one that's left. So I'll go ahead. Good evening, everyone. I'm not sure about the other woman, but when Sister Nikki approached me and asked me to be a part of this panel, I was immediately empowered. I felt encouraged. And as today's female leaders pave the way for the next generation of young women to take the stage and inspire other women to be successful, right there, we are pouring into the life of other women. And we as women need to understand that we are of value. And we need to take the time to pat ourselves on the back and reflect on our accomplishments.
Thank you so much, Chantal. Appreciate that. All right, so the next question I wanted to ask, because I think it's important and I definitely can speak for myself. I never really had one when I was growing up. It was more, I think we depend on our moms and stuff a lot, and aunties and things like that. So my next question was, is it important for women of all ages, so starting from the youngest to the oldest, to have an accessible mentor? And when I thought about this, I was thinking, obviously, there's celebrities and stuff that we look up to. So when I had sent the questions out, I thought about Michelle Obama and Oprah and some of those big Black names that we kind of, talk about, the Maya Angelos and things like that. But is it important to just have someone that's an actual, mentor, counselor, someone that you can reach out to, someone that has an unbiased opinion? Because obviously your family and your friends, even if we try not to have biases, we do, right? How do you guys feel about that, about having an actual mentor from the time that you are, I guess, young to growing up? I know sometimes you have some in school, like counselors and things like that. My experience is they haven't been very good. In my case, going through university and stuff, they did nothing but try to hold you back and make you just make bad choices. But what has your experience been? Do any of you guys have an actual mentor? Have you ever had a mentor? And if you haven't, do you wish you did?
Okay, can I jump in here?
Mm-hmm.
For me, I think this is one of the questions, Sister Nikki, that I found was very inspiring, because growing up in Trinidad and the islands, I grew up at a very strict home. My mom was very strict, and the older folks, and I vow myself never to be like that, because you try to learn from your past experiences, but you're expected to know that you are loved. They don't, yes, you know they love you, but they don't, it's very difficult to show that love. Growing up in a big family, love for my parents, and a lot of us, love for parents would be food, shelter, clothing, necessities. No hugs are involved, and it's almost taboo to say I love you. Okay, I chose the profession that I'm in, the career that I chose is because I love working with people. And I work in Malton. It's a part of Mississauga, and it's a very densely populated, a lot of immigrants, a lot of Black people, a lot of people that are lost, right? And they experience the same issues that many of us have. They don't know where to go. They don't have a mentor. They don't have someone that they can reach out to. And as Sister Nikki says, that are not biased, right? And I do one-on-one supportive counseling with some of these clients facing a lot of issues. The first, number one issue, being an immigrant. 2, being Black, right? So when they walk into my office, it takes everything out of me, everything that I know, everything that I've been taught for the past 25 years, and it's still happening. It takes everything to get this client to open up, to say, just to share, right? Just to share, just to have someone they can speak to get them in that comfort zone, to get them to that space where, to say to them, you can trust me. Whatever you say, whatever you share, it stays here. I got you. I'm listening. I'm not going to judge you. I'm not here to judge you, but I'm here to listen. I'm here to support you. I'm here to make referrals. And a question that I have for my other panel members is that why it is that society have us to believe that it's okay for I'm going to use Caucasian to be politically correct. The other people it's okay, they have a psychiatrist, and Johnny goes to the psychiatrist. But you know what? That's okay, because Johnny needs to speak to someone, and it's okay. But for us, if I am saying to you, if I say to any one of you, maybe I say, I see my psychiatrist once a month, the first thing that comes to mind, she's dealing with mental health issues. She has some sort of a mental health. It's a taboo sort of a thing. So we were taught, society has taught us that we bottle everything up. We don't speak about our feelings. We don't talk about what is happening. It stems from abuse. It stems from everything. We don't talk about these things. So don't look for someone. Don't tell Nikki. Nikki is going to share it around. And again, I understand, because we need to know how to be confidential and stuff, right? But it is okay. And again, I teach my young ones, it is okay to come to me, to come to somebody to say, let us know what you're feeling. Let us know what is going on with you. This is the door that I open also with my clientele. Come on, you can speak to me. You can trust me. Yeah. One of the things that we do at my office space, we sign an oath of confidentiality, just to let them know you can trust, we can trust. So I think it is important to have someone as a mentor, someone that you can speak to, someone that you can share with, because mental health, it is very, very real.
Absolutely. I definitely think the mental health issue is something that they've been trying to put more focus on and more light on as days and stuff proceed, but I still think it's a very taboo topic amongst, especially the Black community, amongst young girls on a whole as well. I think it's something that we need to talk about more. A lot of people are going through it, and sometimes they don't even know that they're really going through it. And it's something that we kind of, I'm Black, so I'm going to talk about Black people, something that we typically shove under the rug. And it's like, just get over it, or, you're fine, like nothing's wrong. So yeah, it's definitely a very taboo topic amongst young people. I remember my daughter, just with her school friends and stuff, and she talks about how some of these kids, some of the things that they say, and like they're young and they're depressed, and some of them are in church, some of them are out of church, but just some of the things that they say, I'm like, why do you even feel like that? Like, you're 12, you're 13, you're 14, like, I mean, realistically, I wish I could be 13 again, when you don't have all of these bills to pay and like, your everyday life we go through, like what it is to be a kid again. But yeah, it's definitely a topic that it's very underrated in the Black community, and very underrated amongst young people. Donna, I saw you unmute your mic, honey. You have something to say?
Yeah, two things. One, I think, and I'm saying this from growing up in church, a lot of times you're going through something and you'll hear, pray about it, which is absolutely a wonderful thing to do. But you know, God's given us each different strengths and talents and reasonings. And like Sister Lynette was saying, there is absolutely nothing wrong with going to someone to have a conversation. And I also think young people today face a lot more than we did. They're exposed to so many more things, especially young women, body image and how you look. And, you know, 13-year-olds look like they're 25. And there's just a lot of social pressure on them. And I think that adds to their, I mean, it's already hard enough being a teenager. And I think when you add all of those additional layers on top of it, it makes it a lot of times really unbearable. And if you have, your parents may not necessarily understand because they didn't experience that. So I can see how a 13-year-old looking at pictures on TikTok or you know, other social media platforms and comparing themselves and their lives to people online whose lives aren't real, can fall into that trap because they don't have the life experience. And this is where that mentorship becomes so important, because they need someone to act as an older sister to say to them, well, that's not real. Like, look at this, look at that. They may not necessarily listen to their mom, but they will listen to someone who they might consider a peer.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
I'd just like to jump in.
Yeah.
You can love Jesus and go to therapy. They're not opposites. Like, they can both work together. So I just want to put that out there. I've done therapy. I love the Lord with all my heart. Both are good. I think from the perspective of mentorship, when you asked the question, I thought about it. I'm like, did I ever have a mentor? And at first I wanted to say, no, I've never had a mentor. But now thinking about growing up, as Donna said, we were raised in the church with pretty strict parents. And there were certain things that I could not tell my parents. I could not go to my parents with certain things because they would lose it. A lot of our circle, our family friends, were also churchgoers. So I couldn't go to them either, you know, to tell them certain things. And when I was in my late teens, early 20s, I worked for a community newspaper in Montreal. And the editor there was a few years older than me. And he was truly my mentor. Because when things popped off that I couldn't go to my parents or anyone in the church for counsel, I could talk to him and he would give me good advice about what I should do, what I shouldn't do. And it was like talking to a big brother or your young uncle versus, you know, talking to someone that you felt was going to judge you. So now as an adult, what I always think about when I'm like working with students or whatever is, what would I have wanted when I was that age? Who was the person I would have wanted to be able to talk to? And that's the type of person I want to be for those students, for my own children. I want to be the person that you can come and talk to and not feel judged because you're maybe going down the wrong path. Once I start judging you, you're no longer listening to me. Yeah. But maybe I can speak to you in a way that makes you reconsider what you're doing. So I've had a mentor. It was an informal mentor, but I try to be that informal mentor to the young people that I have access to.
I love it. I love it. And I don't think you need to be like a formal mentor anyways, right? I think it's really just being someone that somebody else can kind of look up to or talk to when they feel like they can't talk to anybody else. I think it's really, for me, that's what mentorship is. Having that talking aspect, being able to just hear me out sometimes. A lot of the times, especially kids, that's all they need, right? They cry out for help in different ways. And sometimes it's really, they just need somebody to hear them out, someone to just listen to them, to just hear for a moment how they're feeling without that judgment. So yeah, I absolutely agree with you, Shel, for sure. anybody else like to weigh in on mentorship? Go ahead, Lisa.
I think that the mentorship is extremely, the question was, is it important for women of all ages to have a mentor? Short and sweet answer is yes. I grew up in an area that was quite impoverished back in the day, Chesterly, and was basically told from a young age, of a single mother of 5 children, dad passed away long ago, that she wouldn't amount to anything. And that was embedded in our heads, going to Beverly Glen and Lamoureux Collegiate, even before we got to high school. And before, even though my mother was a spiritual Baptist, we went to the Methodist church, and the women on the panel, I'm not sure everybody's listening, the Methodist church is a chain of churches that's around the world. Every country's got them. And they've always had mentorship programs from the jump. And I was paired up with mentors, as my siblings were. Before I even get to that, because Teacher Lynette, I want to touch the base about something, is that our parents can't teach us something they don't know about. And I'll tell you why I said that. Because my mentor allowed me to freely speak without being told I was being rude. It wasn't that we were being rude, but we had questions. We were these Canadian kids, and we're told to express ourselves. Of course, growing up in the homes that we were going to be respectful. But the mentors allowed us to expand our wings without being judged. When we were allowed to expand our wings without being judged, we were able to believe in ourselves. Yes, just like the 2 sisters said, the 2 Drake sisters, you can go to counseling, and that's a form of counseling, and love Jesus at the same time. But sometimes you need to speak to somebody outside of your parents because you are afraid to get those teeth knocked out your mouth if you ask the question. Especially as a young girl growing up. What did you say? That's for adults. That's not for little children. Go to your bed, go bathe. Don't you have homework to do? Right? And of course, anybody who knows me, Lisa likes to ask questions. I don't know why I didn't become a lawyer. Should have stepped in Dad's shoes, but respectfully, I'll ask you my questions. I'm very forward. I'm going to talk about that mental health point too. I've worked in mental health. I've been a nurse for, I don't even know how many years anymore. And even before that, worked in mental health. And one thing that I've learned is that our people, and I don't mean educated, getting your doctorate, our people needed to and still need to be educated about the mental health piece. Because like you said, Nikki, a lot of times we shove it or sweep it under a carpet, not understanding how mental health works. There's too many times we've counseled young people who are depressed. You know what the answer is? Oh, baby, go read a funny joke. Go see a happy movie now. Go with a friend and lie now. That's not it. We don't have the understanding sometimes in our parents and grandparents, sometimes even our own generation, that mental health comes down to a chemical imbalance. And until we learn to treat that, we won't be healed. Sometimes, yes, I understand we're on a panel of rich people. It could be spiritual blows and all these kind of things, and that's not the road I want to take today. But understanding that we can't ignore it. When we understand why some of our young men and young women go off and go astray, it's because they're hurting and crying out, and they need that help. But if we don't have the education, and I say education, the knowledge, how are we going to help? So mentors are there to say, you know what? Mother of these 3 children, your children are hurting. Maybe they need to speak to somebody, because you just giving them a slap on their tail because they asked a question is not going to solve the problem. You have instilled a fear in them that if they speak out, they're going to be chastised. When you start chastising them for speaking out, you know what they're going to start doing? Running and hiding and doing things. And then you're going to see problems. Lisa.
Thank you so much, Lisa. But yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Is there any? Oh yeah, go ahead, Lolita. Let me hear what you got to say, girl.
Yes, I did want to speak on very powerful words. First of all, Lisa, and so many things are kind of popping up for me as you're speaking. And I want to speak on the first thing you talked about, mental health, and how, you know, we don't really know aspects of mental health. And I want to say that it wasn't until some history. So I was a youth, and because some difficulties in the home, I ended up being homeless and being kicked out of my home. So of course that was a really difficult time for me. I had no guidance, no support. And it wasn't until this one guidance counselor kind of seen that I was going through those difficulties and kind of pulled me alongside his wing, kind of started me on that path of starting to heal and, you know, think about some of those things that were going on. But again, Lisa, when you talked about stuffing those feelings down, that was all I knew, was to stuff all those feelings down, push it all the way down. And it wasn't until I got into my recent role with Youth Speak and working with youth and dealing with mental health and things like that, that I start to unpack my own issues in terms of mental health. So I want to just reiterate the fact that it's so important, like, you know, people in this position in all these different positions and walks of life, when you see a young person that's struggling, to reach out and be that voice that, you know, you once wished that you had, because it was so powerful for me. And I'm just, again, just to be so grateful to see all these beautiful Black women coming together and sharing all these words of wisdom. I'm just so grateful to be here. So again, thank you all.
Lolita, I have to jump back in there and just say, you touched me there.
Yeah.
When you said that. Oh, okay. So everybody, this is Lisa. You know, something Sister Lynette said to me and said earlier on about the I love yous. And, you know, I'll be honest, many of you know my mom. It wasn't until I was an adult when my mom actually said to me, I love you. And that is a very endearing term that we need to give to our kids. I have a 7-year-old son. My husband and I, there isn't a day we don't say, I don't even think there's an hour that doesn't pass that we don't tell one another that we love, not just for the sake of saying it, but to allow and to remind him that the love that mom and dad has for you is a trust too. We want to make sure that he has that trust, that he can bring anything to us. Too many times when we were growing up, what did you say? Hush your mouth. What I said is what I said. If you take my business on the road, I'll cuff you down. We don't want to teach our son that. We want him to be able, Sister Nikki, don't laugh. We want him to be able to come to us and say, Mom, Dad, this and this and this. For those who don't know, I'm married to a Caucasian man. I'm living in a very white neighborhood. And our son has been so comfortable to come and say, you know what, Mom, even if he's 7 now, he had to be about 4 when he started school. Josh, what happened? He has very long hair down to his way into his back by his waist. What happened, Josh? The kids said that my mom, they were laughing at me and pulled my hair because they said, your mom is chocolate and your dad is vanilla. Isn't that funny? Isn't that funny? And it hurt my son. But he was so comfortable knowing from a tender age, a little baby, that he can bring anything to us. He's brought many other things since then. But we need to empower, like I'm gonna use that word, our boys and girls, our children. I know we're talking about women, that we love them and that they can bring anything to us. So that I'm gonna rest right there because, you know.
If it's okay, I can just say something again.
Yeah, of course.
Moderator.
Any of the panelists can jump in, yeah.
Yeah, I just want to say it's no shame. And when I do my mentorship or my one-on-one counseling with my clients, the first thing I said, I want to bring it back to mental health. I have mental health struggles. I do have struggles with anxiety. Anxiety is a part of mental health. And I make no bones. I speak about it in the church and every walk of life with all my family. And I do take medication. There is no shame. When you recognize that you need help, and help is out there, we need to forget about all the taboo, forget about everything. You need to take care of yourself and recognize that you need help and go and seek help. Thank you.
Absolutely. And I also think that it's something that should be, I like how you said that you talk about it in church, which is true because we go to church together. But I think it's important and something that should be promoted in church as well, right? I know they talk about it maybe sometimes in school and stuff, because like I said, it's becoming like a focus, especially with the pandemic and stuff, with all of these younger people. But I think it's also something that should be very much promoted for us that do go to church, that, like, it is okay. I love how Charlene said that, like, that's like my favorite comment so far, that like, it's okay, Jesus, the counselor, therapy, whatever you need to help you go through those misfits that happen in life, right? So yeah, I love that. Is there anybody else that would like to weigh in before I jump on to my next question, because this is kind of open up a whole can of worms. Nope, we good. All right. Okay, awesome. So just from listening to that part of the conversation in regards to the mental health and the mentorship and all of that stuff, we are going to kind of just jump into church a little bit. And since a good chunk of us do attend church, and one of the questions I had on here, Donna, and you also talked about it, you mentioned it in regards to social media, right? So I'm going to talk about church and I'm going to talk about social media. So one of the questions firstly I had was what are some of the common misconceptions we have about church girls, and how do we combat some of those misconceptions? And so I thought about this question because I always remember, obviously we were all young at some point in time. I mean, I'm still semi-young, but I always remember growing up, and like, if I met a gentleman or something and I told him I was in church, like, he just automatically had these type of insinuations about me being in church, like either I was a freak, or like I just get down and dirty, or I must be sheltered because I'm a church girl, or I must be holier than thou or something because I go to church. And I think some of those misconceptions definitely still exist, and I find like, even like as young girls and stuff, we should be proud. Like, if that's what we're into, you should be proud. Someone should see you and be like, okay, yeah, like that person goes to church, right? I do feel like it's something that some of these young women, like, they might be, I don't feel like I want to use the word ashamed to say that they attend church, but it might not be at the top of their list of something that they may want to mention. So I want to throw it out there. Tell me some of those common misconceptions, how you guys feel, or especially some of the ones that are in church and growing up in church anyways, about that church girl misconception that's been created.
Hi, so I can definitely speak on that. Like Sister Nikki said, it's either one of two extremes. It's either you're the sheltered virgin-like church girl, or you're the wild undercover daddy's girl, right? So I'm the daughter of a bishop and a pastor, and I've been stereotyped into both categories. Most of the time I felt it amusing. It's kind of funny that someone can point out one thing that they think that they know about you and just create this whole ideal picture in their head, like they've known you for years. And on the other sense, like in school, you kind of try to hide it. It's not that you're ashamed of being spiritual. I grew up in spiritual Baptist and revival. So it's not that I was ashamed of it, but because people don't really understand what it is, the whole process in trying to explain to them what it is, it's like, girl, you're crazy. What are you talking about? However, all my friends that came to my house and slept over, sure enough, you're coming to my house and sleeping over on Sunday. It doesn't matter what denomination you are, you going to church, right? So then them being in church and experiencing it for themselves, it kind of created a different knowledge base in that area, which I love the reaction after them having that experience for themselves. On the other hand, people in church that maybe have a sibling or a child that attends your school, all this information and misconceptions are brought to them from that perspective as well. oh, well, you know, I saw missionary, she goes to my high school now, and the way how she dresses at church and the way how she dresses at school, you know, and it's like, oh my gosh, like it's the worst of both worlds. Like, when do I get to be me? And when do I get to explain and express who I really am? So growing up, I just said, you know what? Forget about it. I'm just gonna be who I am, and whatever news anyone wants to carry out to each other, that's all good and dandy. And that's where the mentorship for me was very imperative, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if somebody will always find something to point out and some flaw to point out that they don't like about you. But if you just be yourself and find yourself, I just feel like it's okay. It's okay to feel comfortable within whatever skin that you want to be in. So being a pastor and a bishop's wife, moral of the story, find yourself, be true to yourself, who you are, and be patient with yourself. Take life and take the steps in life one day at a time, and know that, you know, you will figure it out. You won't figure it out when you're really young. You won't figure it out maybe even when you're 30 years old, but to be patient with your little self in the best way that you know how, that's good enough for me.
I love it. I can definitely coincide, since I grew up with a daddy as a pastor, and my mommy was as well too. So I definitely second a lot of the things that you said, Nika, especially growing up in a spiritual church, and, you know, like the fact that I wrap my head and stuff to go to church on Sunday. And that was something that people are kind of like, what do you mean you wrap your head? Like, are you in a cult? Like, no, I'm not in a cult. It's just something that we do. So I share those same sentiments. And I'm pretty sure, I mean, my daughter is growing up in it, and I think she's probably a lot more braver than when I was growing up, because she don't business. Like, she'll go into the store, she'll go anywhere when she's dressed up in her church clothes, and like, it is what it is. So, but yeah, I absolutely love what you had to say. Miss Hadaway, I know you are pastor's daughter as well. Give me some insight on your experience in regards to those misconceptions.
So I can definitely relate. I've had people say to me, oh, you're a church girl? Church girls are the worst. You guys try to portray yourselves to be what you're not. And inside I'm like, no, I'm the sheltered church girl. I'm not the wild church girl. And then it became so much where I started feeling a bit ashamed. I tried to hide my identity. I remember before I became a driver and I had to take the transit to church, I would not wear my church clothes. I would pack it in a bag, wear it crumpled up and everything, because I felt ashamed because of how people tried to identify me. And I realized growing up into my adult years, one of the ways that we can combat these misconceptions is by living for you and not trying to please other people, and not giving in to what other people think of you. So that is my little piece.
Can I just share a little bit? I recently was privy to a conversation, a couple, newly baptized, the young lady, wife, newly baptized, and and the husband doesn't understand the concept of, doesn't understand the church, the spiritual Baptist, the way. He's not willing to learn, right? Not willing to attend, not willing to support. And one of the things that I heard was, why you have to wrap your head, like Sister Nikki said, are you guys in a cult? And why you wear those robes? And she had to explain to him, it's not a robe. And everybody's wearing the same thing. Because is it a cult? And the children, why they have to wear this thing on the head and head covering? And I think for the most part is that we have to try, and again, it is something that is very, very far-fetched, and we have a lot of work to do in educating educating our partners, our family, our friends, and the spiritual Baptist faith, and why we worship, how we worship. You know, education is key. And again, for the young people out there, and I did say to that person, remember the God that you serve. If you're ashamed to acknowledge him here, now, in the present, he is not going to acknowledge you. Remember, the God he is your everything. And in everything you do, we have to put him first. So forget what they say, forget what their partners say, forget what your friends say. You know, lift your head proud and go into the church and serve him with all your might.
Love it. Is there anybody else that would like to weigh in on that church girl conversation before I go ahead and proceed to the next question? Nope, don't show of hands. Okay, no, all right, sounds good. Okay, so moving from the actual church girl image, I do believe on a whole that the role of women in itself has evolved over, I don't know, let's just say the last decade or so. And so with women's roles and just maybe how we dress and things like that, as evolution and women in church has kind of changed, what do you think is kind of the biggest challenge in keeping young women interested in church? So it's two parts. How has the role evolved? And what's the biggest challenge in keeping young girls interested? So firstly, I just kind of want to weigh in, and I want to say, I mean, I think it's definitely evolved because, for one, back in the day, you wouldn't have like women bishops and things like that, right? So women pastors, women doing marriage ceremonies, things like that was not ever a thing at all. So it's definitely evolved in that type of manner, even to the way that, not so much in my church, but in other churches, how women dress. You automatically knew someone that was kind of going to church because they were always in like a long frock, right? Long dresses, long skirts, like you would not see them in pants and stuff going to church like at all. And then obviously just, again, that biggest challenge in keeping young women interested. I think for me, I definitely want to say one of the issues is maybe just the content and the things that we're actually preaching. Sometimes it's not touching the ears of the young people. It's not things that they're going through. It's not issues that they like. Yes, we're all going to learn about, you know, the David stories and the Goliaths and this and that. But for a young person, they're kind of like, okay, boring, you know, like preach something to me that I can take home that's actually going to help me and maybe in my day to day. And just kind of reminds me of what Donna said earlier in regards to, like, you know, any issue you have, they're kind of just like, yeah, pray about it. Just pray about it. But sometimes it goes a lot more than just praying about it. And I think that's sometimes where we start to lose the young people in church, because we're not really giving them anything else other than the pray about it. So I'm going to open that up to you guys. Tell me how the role has evolved and what's our biggest challenge or some of the biggest challenges in keeping young people interested.
Okay, I'm going to start with this one because I think it's something that has not sat well with me for years. So Shalene and I grew up in a Pentecostal church. Our dad was a deacon, and he would be horrified if we wore pants to church. Like, you just couldn't. There were just certain things you just couldn't do. And we also couldn't ask a lot of questions about life, about relationships, about dating, about sex, about anything, right? You could not ask. It was just inappropriate. And I think the issue today is that there are some churches that are still trying to lead and pastor as if this is 1960 something. It's not. Young people ask questions and they expect real answers. And if you don't give them real answers, they're going to go someplace where they're going to get them.
Amen.
And that place may not be church. That place may be somewhere else, but they're going to go where people are hearing their voices and listening to them and talking to them about real issues that they are facing. And if all we can tell our youth is you're not allowed to wear pants to church, you must do this, you must do that. And I'm not saying that there shouldn't be guidance and we shouldn't allow young people to just do whatever they want and everything's okay, right? You need to guide them in a loving manner, but you also need to talk to them in a real way. They have access to the internet, they have access to all kinds of information, and they're not as innocent. We're not as innocent a society as we were 40, 50, 60 years ago. If you don't give them the real information that they're asking for, or that they're looking for, they're going to seek it out, and they're going to seek it out somewhere else. And slowly you're going to start to see those young people leave the church. And it's that simple. And I think we need to get comfortable as older leaders and members in the church. We need to get comfortable with giving them that real information, and maybe sometimes making ourselves a little bit more vulnerable about what our life experiences were in answering their questions.
That's what I had wanted to, sorry, Kim. I just wanted to tag on to Donna because we've had the same experience, right? And, it's just that oftentimes when we were growing up, and some people that I've seen since moving away from home, going to a different church and all that, people play that they're holy, and they're so holy that they're no earthly good. So they never talk about the issues and the struggles that they might have had as young people and how they may have made bad decisions, or, you know, this is what happened to me when I went down this path. Everybody, as Donna always likes to say, everybody got respectable. You know, so as soon as they start talking to the young people in church, it's like, no, well, I never dated. I met my husband in the church and we just knew we were the right ones for each other and we got married, right? And there's no real talk about how things happen. There's no talk about, you know, sex outside of marriage. There's no talk about, you know, drugs, you know, getting involved in bad groups and bad company. There's no discussion about that. We're all holy. We've been holy from birth. We never backslid. We never did anything. The Lord didn't need to save us because we done save ourselves. And this is the problem, because young people know that that's bare foolishness and they're not going to take it. Like, they want to hear real stories. Even when I talk to my children, they're quite young still, but I try to be as real with them, because like what Donna said, if they don't get it from you, if they don't get it from someone who loves the Lord and wants the best for them, they're going to go out there and they're going to get it from somebody else. And God only knows then what they're going to hear.
So just on that part, Shalene and Donna, to build on that, I was going to say that we hear often in the church, oh, only God can judge you. Yet we have a whole bunch of adults who are out here judging young people. And I started off this conversation with they don't have places to fail. You don't have places to try and experiment. We don't talk about the things that we're actually feeling as adults. So yes, we're born holy, Shalene, and we kind of bypass, and even just to have real conversations about what you're experiencing. We don't have those conversations within the church. Depending on the church, sometimes young women get singled out for if they make certain decisions that don't align, they get singled out, and that will now other them and push them further out of the church, because now they feel judged, they feel persecuted. There lacks a whole lens of social empathy to embrace and to sit down and to listen, to have conversations, to understand, to be human, right? Like, we are human beings, and that's what it comes down to. And I think the last piece I will say, young people are smart and they're watching us. And a lot of times they feel like there's hypocritical behavior within churches. So they see how the adults are moving and they're saying, oh, well, you're telling me not to do X, Y, and Z, but here you are doing X, Y, and Z, and it's okay for you. And then you get up and you say this in front of different spaces. And then you come back and tell me that I can't do the same thing, or I'm in trouble for the same thing. So they don't want to be in that space that's hypocritical. So they're like, I'm going to go somewhere else where I know what I'm getting. And I think until we, as adults, as leaders, as elders, actually own our issues and our mistakes and actually try to work through those in a way that's transparent and honest, we're going to continuously see young people get pushed out of the church because they don't see themselves. And I also think they want an opportunity to lead and teach in their own way, not in the way that we have been doing it, however many decades, right? Like they want to do it their way that's relevant to them. We might not understand it, and that's cool. That's not a problem. But as long as it resonates and it's speaking of the word and it's on solid foundation, then it shouldn't be a problem. And we have to give space for that.
Okay, can I weigh in on this?
Absolutely.
You. Thank you. I love this piece. Again, I agree with the speakers before. My sisters, I agree. And I think one of the other things, as I said, I teach the children's ministry at United. And every week we meet on a Zoom every Saturday. And I can tell you, it's not me teaching these young people. And we have a lot of preteens and teenagers, and it's they also teaching me. I think the most important thing is that they need to be heard. They need to share. They were having some issues when we started. We started this group last year. I think it was end of April because of COVID, you know, we did the online session. And one of the biggest concern they had was like, Auntie, I can't understand the language in the Bible. I can't. We're reading it, but we're not understanding. And what we did, we got them a Bible that they could understand. It's the same word, a different version that they can understand. And Sister Nikki can share with you guys too, the expression of these kids, how they articulate their words. We have once a month, we give them responsibilities, we involve them. And once a month, at the end of the month, the last Wednesday in every month, we allow them to lead the midweek service. You know, we are trying to groom them to be future leaders. We give them a voice. We say to them, you matter. I say to them, we need your opinion. We are trying to, we are planning something for you in the summer, but guess what? We need your input. What would you like to see? What would you like to have done? Tell us, right? So I think it is very important to include the young people in everything that we do, because again, like we know, the older ones are dying out. But the young ones, we have to teach them, we have to include them, and don't judge them. Don't just give them a listening ear, and you know what? Be very transparent and have a conversation. Not to dictate to them, but have a conversation with them.
Love it. Love it. That's great. And I agree with all of you guys, especially because, like I said, I mean, I have a teenager right now. So I find a lot of the things that you guys said are things that she would say to me, you know, just in regards to adults and stuff, listening and understanding them and just kind of helping them to understand themselves, right? So yeah, I absolutely love that. And I think you guys hit everything on the nail really in regards to why they're falling away from church. Obviously, because the big thing is they're not being heard, right? They don't have that voice. It is a shut up, sit down type thing when it comes to a lot of the elders and the young people. So yeah, you guys, I love that. I love that. So from that, I'm gonna go to, I'm gonna go to social media, because I think that's definitely a big thing in this day and age with our young people. And so, like I said, Donna had brought it up earlier, that topic about social media and just the fact that they're dealing with a lot more than we are, right? Because they have access to so much more things than we did. I know definitely when I was growing up, I didn't have access to, TikTok and Instagram and all those kind of things. The coolest thing, probably as I hit a teenager, was maybe like High Five, MSN, like that, which were super, super corny, right? So how do you guys think that social media is affecting these kids right now, and just how we're going to empower them, how we're going to get them involved in church, how they're dealing with those body issues? I talk to my daughter all the time about like hypersexualization, right, on social media, especially with Black females. We are very, very hypersexualized in the social media because we're supposed to have, you know, big bums and a small waist and big boobs and things like that. And so I was actually having a discussion with my friend about this particular question. And we were talking about the fact that it's the young girls that are seeing all of this stuff and may be negatively affected because they want their bodies and stuff to, you know, to look like that. But it's a lot of the adult women that have a part to blame in it as well, because the young girl doesn't have the resources to get her body like that, but the older ones do. And they are the ones that they're like trying to run competition, I guess, with some of these young girls. So I think, but it's like you can't really stop per se kids from social media, because it's like it's everywhere. Because even if they're not, even if you kind of block them maybe at home, like my kids use computers at school all the time, like the older one, right? Like they are exposed to that life regardless. So what are some of your thoughts on social media and how it is affecting our young girls in and out of church? You can go ahead, Lisa. I saw you unmuted your mic.
Social, you know, Sister Nikki, that's a great question, but social media didn't just start recently. I mean, we will call it media when you and I were kids. I'm slightly older than you are. And growing up, Nick, you were born in Toronto, right? Okay. So Scarborough, right? Me too, Scarborough. So when we went to school, what we saw as the role model, what we needed to live up to was the Wonder Woman. Okay. I can't remember her name. Anyhow, she was my idol at that time.
Who, Xena?
No, Wonder Woman.
Linda Carter.
Thank you, Brother Jay. Linda Carter. Okay. It was Xena Warrior Princess. I remember Barbies were as white as snow. We were always shown that in order to be beautiful, your hair had to be long and flowing to your waist.
Yep.
Okay. When I came to school with cane rows in my hair, what did your mom do? She sewed up your scalp, you know, and made fun and poked fun. When we used to have ribbons, remember those ring combs that you used to get from Trinidad with the little teeth, or Barbados for the Drake's girls used to have ribbons, and they would ask you, oh, you guys look like ponies. What are you doing? We had nothing to look up to show us that we're beautiful. Now, 2021, social media is destroying our girls. Me, I'm fabulously figured. Don't call me full figured. I am fabulously figured, okay? Made by God's two hands. Beautiful I am, okay? And I want women, young girls, to have that confidence. Because, great, we've got the Tyra Banks of the world, but again, she will tell you she was on starvation diet. Okay, social media is, like you said, God tell you, to be a Black woman, you got to have a big booty and a tiny little waist and some big old breasts. You know, if you have natural locks in your hair, you're ugly. But if you have the weave that goes to your ankles, you're gorgeous. If you're natural skin, again, you're ugly. But you know what? Please buy some Maybell, or I don't even wear makeup. So I don't even know the Clairol, Maribel, or whatever they're called, that makes you gorgeous. Okay. If you know, a young girl, you know, what kills me is you have these young women who, you know, have a little weight on themselves. They're going on starvation diets. I worked on units with eating disorders. You wouldn't believe how many young Black girls were in that program right there at North York General Hospital on the 8th floor. Why? Because they didn't see themselves as beautiful. Our media is killing our young generation. I've been watching that for 18 years in this profession. And even before I got into this profession. So back to your question, what effects is it having on a topic of empowering our young girls and women? It's destroying them. It's killing them. It's taking away their identity. It's not allowing them to believe that they are beautiful. because they're portraying, media is portraying what media thinks is beautiful, and not allowing young girls to accept what they look like, how they walk, how they speak, how naughty or curly their hair is, how kinky their hair is, and embracing that.
Those are awesome words. I second that for sure. Is there anybody else that would like to weigh in on the social media topic?
I love, Deaconess, what you said. You hit everything. You hit a lot of things that I was going to even speak about, like in the hospital. I also had the experience of working on one of those units as well. And the amount that I've learned, I cried, I laughed, I was traumatized. It's just so much mixed memories when I go back to that place when I was there, and also trying to conduct professionalism as a nurse as well at the same time, especially with the Black women. Like you said, it was rampant on that unit at that time as well. And I was actually very surprised at what a lot of them had to say, for obvious and various reasons. So I'm gonna kind of just take a different approach. I feel like it has its pros and its cons. More so now in our day and age, I feel like social media also is bringing out the light in Black people. I feel like, for instance, you have some ads, makeup ads, that now have, instead of having 3 or 4 shades of Black, there's like 20 different kinds. Or women of different shades, like from the blackest to like the very light skin, especially in movies, like, you know, Disney and all of that stuff. Mind you, a lot of them have, we can look at the negative aspect as well, but I'm just trying to focus on the positive just a little bit. I don't know if, I don't have any boys, but I love that Princess and the Frog movie. I've watched it probably 1,000,001 times.
Love it.
It meant so much to me to see like a Black princess, that positivity, that, oh my gosh, she worked so hard. Never mind the voodoo and all of that part. I just looked at it as like, hey, we got one, okay? We got one of ours, and she's beautiful, and she struggled and worked hard to get what she wanted, and she did get it in the end, right? So I just feel like we're climbing the hill, but it's very slow. But I feel like we have progressed from where I have come from in my era. So looking at it from a positive aspect as well, I feel like if we keep pushing these things slowly but surely, like as was said before, our women and young men will know how to treat our Black queens. Because I feel like we've gone back and forth with like interracial relationships as well. When I was younger, it was more, oh, you see that one there? Oh, they couldn't find a nice Black man. They gone to the white, or vice versa. Where now it's just, you see it all over the place, and it's just so normal, and it's lovely, and everybody's more not everyone, but it's more embraced now, more so, right? So I just feel like we're climbing up that ladder. It's getting where it's supposed to be, but it's gonna take time because we still need to process some healing with a lot of stuff that, for obvious reasons, we can't go there on the platform in like 2 hours. But I just feel like if we all we teach our kids, like kind of try to disintegrate that hurt just a little bit, still let them have that knowledge base and history from where they're coming from. Because if we take that away, we take away the foundation. But just try to see things in a positive light as well, to keep pushing them up, up, up. And maybe by the time we pass from this earth and we go to a resting place, we'll say, wow, like we did that. Like, you know what I mean? We made a difference, and it can be seen and shown in the generations that are coming up.
Fabulous point. I have to admit, I haven't seen The Princess and the Frog. I must watch it.
You know what you're missing.
Something you had said, and it triggered my memory. I won't weary anybody's patience. Is one thing, Sister Nikki, that, and I don't know if the panel agrees with me or not, but media still instills the class system within our own race. And I see that so predominantly when I travel. And I mean, you would look, it doesn't matter, we've been to Cuba, we've been to so many countries where we've got Blacks. And anytime, media portrays the fairer you are, the more beautiful and socially acceptable you are. And you are pushed to the front line. You're the bank president, you're the bank owner, you're the teller. As soon as you become a little dark, then you're the one in the back rolling the pennies. And Lord forbid you come out like pitch, we don't even see where you are. And media still portrays that. So I just wanted to hit that point with your question.
Nikki, if I can add one comment.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Before you move on.
Mm-hmm.
And it just around social media. I think, yes, that, the Instagrams and the Facebooks and the Twitters and whatever have an impact on our young people, but so do we. And I think a lot of times things that we say in our circles, especially with, our daughters, our nieces, our granddaughters around, we don't realize that they're listening, but they're listening and they pick it up. And when they hear us talk about, I've got to work out, I've got to do this is too tight, I can't be a size 10, I've got to be a size 2. When they hear those things, they start to internalize it. So I think it's wrong to completely blame social media for all of it, because we should be their role models, and partially we are their role models, and they're listening to us and they're watching us. And I know my little niece, my sister and I were having a conversation about working out, and she came to me and she said, Auntie Donna, are you getting chubby? They pick it up and they hear it, and you don't think that they're making the connections. They're making the connection. So I think that among us, we also have to speak more positivity into our own body types and our own complexions and our own hair. Because I keep telling them, your hair is beautiful. And I'm like, well, if my hair is so beautiful, why are you always wearing braids? Because I don't have the patience to comb my hair. But they don't get that. And so it's just kind of trying to reinforce all of those positive messages, because you don't think they're picking it up. They're picking it up.
Absolutely, especially with the hair stuff, because I know even with my little one, like, she's so particular about her hair. And even when she looks at pictures of when she was a baby and stuff, she's like, Mommy, I didn't have no hair. Mommy, look how long my hair got. So yeah, you're absolutely right. Social media does have a big part, but it's not just social media. It is some of the things that we do instill at home, especially, I want to say, with Caribbean parents. As soon as you put on a little 2-pound, they're very quick to tell you, how you looking fat so, right? So it is absolutely at home, as well as with the social media, just amplifying things. So thank you so much, Donna, for that. Truly, truly appreciate that comment. So all of us, to my knowledge, I believe, are over 30. I'm correct with that? I believe so, yes. So this one is a more of an advice question, right? If you could look back at yourself, what would you tell your 21-year-old self? And I picked 21 because I thought 21 was like a really transitional age. Most people by that time, I would hope so, that you would have finished high school and possibly college or university. And I feel like it's kind of like a figuring out stage, because you're not really there yet. You think you're grown, absolutely, but you're not really quite there yet. So I wanted to put that out there. If you could go back and talk to your 21-year-old self, what would you tell yourself? And for me to start it off, I would tell myself to love myself more and to value myself more, to make better decisions. So that's me starting it off. So tell me some of the advice that you guys would give your younger self, because I think that's how we help to impact young people's lives, even the ones that are not 21, but absolutely. Because I remember, like my dad says a lot of the times, if I knew the things that I know now, obviously if I knew it then, I would have been much different, right? So I think sometimes when we're talking to these young people and trying to encourage them and push them, that we have to put ourselves in that moment for a second to say, you know what would I have told myself at that age? So floor is open for absolutely anybody to jump in and let me know what you would have told your 21-year-old self.
Nikki, it's really funny that you said love yourself more, because that's the exact same thing I would have said to myself, is love yourself more, because I know for me, I can only speak for myself. Like I was looking externally for a lot of love and validation from how I looked. I didn't like the way I looked. I thought something was wrong with me. And I just needed to understand, if you love yourself, then it doesn't matter what anybody else in the world has to say about you. And so the other thing I would say to my 21-year-old self is use your voice, because nothing is ever solved when you just sit there and take it. Like if you don't speak for yourself, if you don't advocate for yourself, then people will walk all over you because they think they can. So I wish I had learned that lesson earlier in life, but that is what I would tell myself or any other 21-year-old. Speak for yourself, speak up and use your voice.
I think, Donna, is it okay if I jump in? All right, cool. A few things. One is I hear you and I see you, so you're not invisible. And as a result of that, take up space, and as much space, be as big as like a dancer who stretches out on stage and fills up the entire stage. Stretch, own it, and take it up. Be kind to yourself. And I think I'll tell this version of Kimberly tell that as well. It's something I always remind myself. And back in my 20s, I wasn't always the kindest to myself, similar to Shalene. A lot of body image issues with the conversation about the eating disorders. That was me in high school. I used to starve myself, ran track, played ball, danced, didn't eat, went home, would then eat a whole bunch of foods. My parents wouldn't even know what was going on with me. And that was my routine throughout high school. So be kind to yourself. Be kind to yourself spiritually, be kind to yourself mentally, be kind to yourself physically. Say good things about yourself. Love the body that you're in, because it took me a while to get to that point to be like, yeah, this okay, I can get with this. Like this isn't so bad, right? You're like, okay. And to own that, but it took a minute to get there. And I think the last thing I'll say, it's a moment and it'll pass. At 21, we think everything is life-changing and life-altering. And if you realize in that moment that if you turn things over to God, it is a moment, part of your longer story and part of your journey. So it is a moment. It's going to be difficult in this moment. But 2, 3, 4 years, the thing that you might have thought was going to like be the end of everything, you can't remember either the person's name, the situation, what was said. It's a moment. And so just leave it as that.
Awesome, love it. Donna, you were gonna jump in?
2 things. One, I would tell myself, guard your heart. Not everything that goes on in your life needs to be shared with everyone. And at 21, you have a lot of friends, there's a lot of people around, and you think that all of these people are really close to you and they have your best interest at heart. And they don't necessarily do. And a lot of times they don't offer you the best decisions because of their own jealousy and insecurity. So I would tell myself, some things absolutely, you know what, should just have stayed between God and I, or maybe myself and my mentor, someone who I looked up to. That's one thing. And I would also tell my 21-year-old self, have the confidence. Even if you don't know everything that you need to know, go out and do. If you fail, so what? You failed. You've learned. It's an experience. And you try again. I was so worried about being perfect at everything that a lot of times I didn't try everything because I didn't want to fail at things. And I would tell myself, fail. So what? What's the worst that's going to happen? You get up, you dust yourself off, and you try again.
Can I jump in?
Absolutely.
Okay. I would tell my 21-year-old self is to, like you, Sister Nikki, make better choices. And make better choices and be more assertive. Be a, have a bigger voice. Like now you know me, Sister Chantel, Sister Lisa. I have a big voice. I have a big voice. I have a voice for the voiceless. And I wish that at 21, I had the voice that I have now to make better choices, to be more assertive, and to push myself to the ultimate limit. That is what I would tell my 21-year-old self.
I love it.
I'll take a go at it.
Go ahead, Mika. Yeah.
Things that I would tell myself is to be patient. Take a breath. At that age and stage in the game, it's expected of most of us, like you should be in college or university. Once you're finished that, you need to be in a career, buy a house, be married. Like those kind of stuff are very stereotypical and expected of us. It's like the story is already written for you before you've had a chance to even think about what you want or where you want to be. So I would say to myself, really be patient, take a minute and just breathe. I would also tell myself to just be me. Just be me and know that it's okay to be me. Everyone's journey and path is different. So just because someone is running like a lightning bullet and everything is paved out for them and they're at this stage of their life, and somebody else who's just at the starting line, putting their shoes on, getting ready to go, and they're the same age, that's okay. We all have different DNA, and God knew us when we were in our mother's womb. So that story has been written, it's blueprinted. We just don't know what the story is. So allow myself to go through that process, knowing that we'll get through it and we'll get there, but I can't do it unless I'm open and honest enough with myself.
Chantal, I saw you unmute your mic. You can go ahead.
Yes, I did. Well, I'm not too far away from 21, but some advice that I would give to my 21-year-old self is that sometimes you don't always have it all figured out. And that's time for you to take some time out to get to know yourself. And life isn't always going to be easy and perfect. And one thing I would also tell my 21-year-old self is that have a career path that aligns with your strengths. Because I remember when I was 21, I went to college and I didn't have it all figured out. I got into a career that I didn't end up liking, and I used that opportunity to dig deep into my strengths, and I was able to rediscover myself.
I love it. Thank you. I think all of those things are important to tell our 21-year selves, and maybe even our 16 and 17-year-old selves that are figuring out. It really starts again from those younger ages and growing up, right? So I thank you guys all for those comments. That was wonderful. I just want to move on to the next question. And this one is in regards to dating for our younger folks. Some of the older folks are still dating, but this is for the younger folks. So if you had to give a young person a practical piece of advice, a young woman who wanted to start dating or has just begun dating, what would your piece of advice be? So, and I will start it off again, and then I will leave the floor open for you guys. The first thing that came to my mind when I first started dating is that sex is not running away. Honestly, it's really not. Like, it's okay for you to wait. And we all know peer pressure is obviously like a very, very big thing when you're younger. Obviously, once you're older and then you're matured and, you know, I want to say you're a little bit more settled in your ways, people can't really push you and pursue you to do things that you don't want to do per se. But I feel like, especially when you are younger, sometimes you can definitely be taken, especially women, can be taken advantage of in that regard. So leaving it out there, that is my piece of advice. What would your piece of advice be for someone who has just begun or wants to look into start dating?
Ay, ay, ay. Sister Nikki, and to the panel. I hope this goes across the right way. Listen to what I'm saying. Listen to my words. Dating as a young person, date plenty and date hard. And this is what I mean by that. Dating doesn't mean sleeping around. There's a difference, okay? It's like when us women go out to buy a dress. We walk into the Bay, Sears, whatever. We don't just grab the first dress off the rack and say, I'm gonna purchase it. It is, listen, you need to find out who and what is out there. There is absolutely nothing wrong with spending a $5 to go have a cappuccino or a cafe au lait or what have you, to see if this gentleman and you have anything in common. Again, I'm gonna say, date plenty. I didn't say sleep around. You need to shop around and see what compatibility there is. You need to go and sit in a restaurant and say, when it was time to go on that date, did that boy blow his horn for me? You dare not blow a horn for me if you want to take me on a date. When it was time to go into a restaurant, did he open up a door for me? Or did he just walk in and let the door hit me on my Achilles tendies and hurt my little ankles? I'm not saying you got to pay for my meals. I can do that myself. But you learn a lot when you decide to date and go out with somebody. Dating doesn't have to last forever, but you should be able to get a feel for somebody. And people do put their best foot forward. I'm not saying they don't. And if you're going to be dating, that young man's been like, man, it's been 3 weeks. I just need a little something. Well, you know what? This is where you're not going to get the something. Because if somebody was truly for you and you are dating and really checking on somebody, that person was lined up with your values, okay? And you're coming, I'm talking from a Christian heart, okay? That person is going to wait for you. They're not going to pressure you. But I say, but be smart. When I was a younger woman, I dated in groups, and there was always safety in numbers. It was me and my sister, a fellow that we met. We would go Yorkdale Mall. We would head downtown Toronto. What was it, Yeaton Center, before they had that nonsense, whatever they built there at Dundas Square, when we used to have the real stores. We used to head down to the Lake Shore. We used to go down to Harborfront. That's what I'm talking about. Let's see what conversation. Can you hold a conversation? Or is everything some street slang and 4-letter words because you have no intelligence to put together and string together a sentence? I say date hard, date plenty. Again, Deaconess is not telling you to sleep around, but you need to see who and what is out there for you.
Preach, girl, preach. Would anybody else like to weigh in on that?
She covered it.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just saying that she covered it. Sister Lisa covered it. Like what she said is 100% true, at least from my perspective. Date, find out what you like, what you don't like, what is a non-negotiable, so that you don't end up in a relationship that doesn't work for you. As I've seen too many people that I know end up in relationships and married to people they really shouldn't have married to because this was the first person they had a long-term relationship with. So date hard and date often. That doesn't mean you have to sleep with anyone. It just means you're getting to know people. Love the whole thing.
Thank you for that, Sister Chanel. I appreciate the feedback. I think some folks think it's, but thank you.
That was awesome. But yeah, definitely, Lisa, you really did hit that on the nail. I do see, Lolita, that you unmuted your mic. Henny, would you like to say something?
Yes, absolutely. Definitely, absolutely agree with what Sister Lisa said, just about dating, often dating a lot and just seeing what's out there, but also bringing it back to the point of dating yourself. I think that's really important too, getting to know yourself, what you want, what you need, your needs, all those type of things. But also one thing that's really worked for me is creating a list of all the things that I want in my ideal mate. And not just creating the list of all the things I want in my ideal mate, but also striving my best to measure up to all the things that I feel like that ideal mate that I've created on that piece of paper would want to see in me as well. So I think it goes both ways. And yeah, of course, on the end of everything that we also talked about, just loving yourself, getting to know yourself first, and becoming your own best friend first.
I'll just jump in here. I love again what Deaconess Lisa, like, I mean, you hit the nail on the ball, man. Like you covered all points there. But when you were talking, something also came into mind. Don't compare your father or father-like figure to anyone that you're gonna date. I think a lot of us have this notion to whatever, like, male mentor that we have in our life, father figure, uncle, who we feel like this is the perfect man. Let's compare this man. And then when we do encounter and we do start to date this person and we see that this is not what the person is, it's like, how come I can't find the right person? Like, no one's ever the right person. It's taking so long. Everyone else has moved on and they're happy and they have kids and this and that and that. But I'm still stuck here at square one. Well, you set your standards really high, depending on who that figure was to begin with. And you're searching for something that realistically is not there. Like I said before, we're all different. We all have a different fingerprint. So a lot of us need to take out this idea of the perfect person and well, that they ain't like daddy, I don't want them. You will never get anywhere and you're failing yourself before you even give yourself a chance.
I definitely concur with that, Tanika, because I do feel, especially for young girls that have their father figures in their life, that's kind of like the first man that you fall in love with without you knowing that you're falling in love with your father. Do you know what I mean? You fall in love with his persona, his character, how he treats your mom, or takes care of the family and things like that. So yeah, you definitely build up this image of who you want your male counterpart to be. And you often realize a lot of the times, a lot of women, especially in their first relationships and stuff, when they start date a man that's what they deem similar to their father or portrayed some type of quality or characteristic like their father. So I definitely agree with that, because sometimes it's obviously not the best option. I mean, I think everyone builds up a character of a certain kind of, man that you want, a loyal man, respectful man. And obviously if your dad has those things too, you're going to yearn for those things, but it could be, and also, a setup for failure when they don't pan out to be exactly like daddy. So yes, for sure. Does anybody else want to weigh in before we move on from this question here?
Sure, I will quickly.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if anyone will agree, but I believe that we shouldn't let our guard down. Because when you let your guard down, then you start attracting, and don't be offended, but you attract garbage. Nobody wants to attract garbage. And I mean, I have to agree with my big sister, Lisa, that you date hard and, you keep your options open. Because you have to also keep in mind that when you're dating, that's your time to learn about the other person. You want to be able to analyze, because then you miss out on things. And then later on down the line, you get into situations of domestic violence, abuse. So it is important to learn the person that you are dating.
Love it. Thank you. So I am also watching the time. I know it's definitely been a lengthy discussion. I think I'm probably just going to get 2 more questions in there before we kind of wrap up our evening. So I obviously didn't get to touch on everything I wanted to, but just because of a lot of the things that were said and, talking about raising like strong Black women and talking about mental health and things like that. One of the questions I did have for the panelists was the negative effects of the strong Black woman stereotype, because I think it's something that we definitely pass down from generation to generation. So we're passing it from, I think it would have been something my mom passed on to me and something I probably pass on to my daughters. And if my daughters have daughters, something that they'll probably pass on too. But I remember watching this video about the superwoman syndrome, and how it affects us as young Black girls growing up. And like I said, not just, me passing it on, but just coming down generation by generation, right? So what do you guys think are some of those negative effects of that stereotype that Black women, like I said, I'm Black, so I'm going to say Black women, that we're invincible. We can do anything. I want to say firstly, like some of the things that I thought about when I thought about the superwoman syndrome was that me and a friend of mine were talking about the fact that especially like in media and stuff, sometimes like we glorify the struggle. Do you know what I mean? They always have those images, especially told me, we have those images of like the African lady with, the water on top of her head and the baby on her back and groceries in her hand, you know what I mean? And she's trying to get it all done. She's doing it all. But in turn, is it causing us to suffer in silence? So how do you guys feel about that portrayal, that stereotype that's constantly kind of put on Black women to be that super strong, invincible Black woman?
Okay, can I weigh in on that? From experience, my kids are grown up, single mother for a long time, Black woman, doing it alone, holding on two jobs, trying to advance in career. One of the jobs, very, very, very stressful, expected to be mom, to be the engineer, to be the carpenter, to be the mechanic, to be the chef, to be the laundry person, to be the educator, everything, right? And the negative piece in that is that you don't ever have time for yourself, causing more harm to yourself than good. Powerful, strong Black woman. And then I found myself in a relationship with a gentleman. And because I was superwoman and I did everything for myself, I opened my door myself, I pumped my gas, I checked my oil, I washed my car, I did everything. And then I met this man, a gentleman, some years ago. And the first time we went out and he tried to open the door for me, I was like, what are you doing? I'm used to opening my own car door, right? And then we went into the restaurant and he tried to open it and I'm like, hello? And it took me quite a while to settle down, to realize that, hey, it's okay to pull back a bit, to allow somebody to take care of you. You see, we get so used as superwomen taking care of everybody else. We don't pull ourselves back and allow somebody to take care of us, to get a little pampering going here, to get a little foot. We forgot what it is to have a foot massage or a shoulder rub. And again, taking care of self. So, the other thing is that it's difficult to show emotions because we are not expected. We are strong, we are superwoman. So we don't cry. We don't, we don't have outbursts. For me to express myself, I would go to the shower and turn the shower on. And I would scream to the top of my voice, and then I'd wipe my face and dry my tears, and then I'm supposed to be okay again. So those are some of the negative effects of being superwoman.
I agree with that. Does anybody else have anything to weigh in on the superwoman syndrome?
Yes, I do. The negative effects of the superwoman syndrome is that we face racial discrimination. We are pressured to feel like we're superheroes. We have to self-sacrifice just to make others happy. And we feel obligated to present an image of strength and to suppress our emotions. I am very big on mental health, and I have taken time off from work just to reset and recollect myself, because everyone sees me as this strong Black woman. But at the same time, you cannot pour from an empty bucket. But that also ties into, self-care as well.
And so I'll just jump in on that one, Chantel, thank you. 2018, I learned my favorite word, or favorite, that's the complete sentence, and it's no. Hard stop, no explanation required, no. And the first time I said it to someone, they looked at me and they're like, they're waiting for the rest. I don't owe you anything more, right? It's no, and that's because you have to start creating boundaries. If not, people are going to load all the burden on you, and you're gonna feel like you need to take it on. And if you don't, it actually materializes, right? Trauma materializes in our body and our mind. It becomes part of our DNA, ends up informing our bodies and our health, and it ends up informing decisions that we make down the road. So you have to take care of you have to take care of yourself by creating and setting and holding yourself accountable to those boundaries. We can't do it all. We can't do it all. And I think other people have to be accountable as well. So my favorite thing is, so what are you gonna do? Because that's also the favorite thing. Folks are like, you should be doing this. Well, why aren't you doing that? I've created a couple of organizations for Black women. Well, what about this particular group? And why didn't you do it for that particular group? And I'm like, so what are you doing? It's not my job as a Black woman to have to take on the burdens of this world and live within this endoskeleton of anti-Black racism and colonialism and white supremacy that has created this space of capitalism and has us just feeling drained and tired and run down. They will not take my joy from me. So creating those boundaries is critically important for Black women, and that's all part of the self-care piece as well. And that helps us to heal and not feel guilty for saying no, because I think oftentimes we feel guilty.
In regards to the superwoman syndrome, it's actually interesting. I decided to do a little research project with the more mature community, Black community to be precise, with family and people around me. And more or less, I got the same response from the more mature adults, particularly women, that they work, and do all of this stuff because they want to give their children what they didn't have. So everything else was blank. It didn't matter. I have to do this because I want my child to have this. They have to have a better life. They have to be more successful than me, have a better career, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Not realizing that your child is growing, your child is maturing, becoming this adult. And by the time you realize, they're already adults. It's way too late. And growing up, I kind of experienced that just a little in my family. And now, especially during the pandemic and with the field that I'm in, I don't know if anyone can relate to it. The hours, the stress, the overtime. I mean, sometimes they want to pay you triple working 24 hours. And it was an instance of, yes, these patients need me and this and that and that. Until one day, I was like, oh my gosh, my son is now a teenager. And I did the exact same thing that my mom did. The exact same thing that I resented her for a few years out of my life. I fell into the exact same sinkhole. Like, what am I doing? Girl, you need to wake up. And just like my sister Kimberly said, say no. Nothing else is worth it because you cannot get that time back. So we do put on this, I do agree that it is negative, but a lot of us don't realize until we've already gotten so far and you've experienced and felt that pain and felt that hurt for yourself, and to have to live it again and look in the mirror, it's awful. It's an awful, awful, awful feeling. So I'm really glad that you brought up this question to hear a lot of different aspects and stuff, because it just helps you to realize. And I think this is one of the things that I'm really going to take home.
Awesome. Thank you guys for all your responses. Yeah, that when I first kind of read about it or saw like the video and stuff on it, I was it really hit home for me, like that same mentality, because it's things that like I know have definitely come out my mouth, like I'm doing this for you, like to make sure that you got better things than what I got. And it's the same thing that my mom would have definitely told me, like I worked so hard to make sure that that you can go to school and do this and do that, because it was opportunities that she didn't get. And I love that. But I do also understand how tired my mom must have been, or how exhausted the world just kind of barricading on her must have been, because sometimes that's exactly how I feel. And you guys kind of all touched on that, just on that self-care piece. So thank you guys for those responses. Awesome. We are starting to wind down. I did see that there was actually a message though in the chat. I don't know if anybody else said that, and he would. This is from Reverend Charles. He would like us to respond. I just kind of partially responded in the chat, but he did ask, this was back to the dating question, if a person should forego dating for the sake of career building. And so you guys can see my response. I just basically said, I don't think you have to necessarily. And I also think it depends on the person and what your priorities are at that time in your life. But I do think it is important for any individual to build themselves and know yourself, so you can be the best version of yourself when you do start to begin dating, because we do tend as individuals to kind of bring baggage. Everyone brings a piece of baggage into their relationship. But trying to completely find yourself while you're in a relationship can become very difficult and complicated. So I told him I would put it out there, because I just didn't know if you guys saw the message or not. If anybody had any other responses to add to that, to answer Reverend Charles's question.
I'll go. I think it really depends on the person. It depends on what their priorities are in their life and what they want for themselves. Not everybody wants a relationship. Not everybody wants to get married. So honestly, I think it comes down to the individual. If a person wants to, build their career and then look for a relationship, or build a career and then, be happy doing what they're doing, that's on them. Like, I'm sure that they're happy with the decision that they made. And I don't know if there's one answer, because it truly does depend on the individual's wants and needs.
Yeah,
Sister Chanel, I echo that. I really echo that. And I believe it depends on the person and what you want, because you could be so busy, developing a career that the love of your life could pass you by, while, and that would be detrimental, because then you turn around and say, but, Father God, I never met this person I wanted to, but you were so busy into your career building that you didn't get yourself a work-life balance. And the person who God may have ordained for you has passed by because you were too busy focusing on something else. So it really depends on the person.
Yeah, awesome. So yeah, I definitely think that we kind of all share that same sentiment, that it definitely depends, not begins, on the person, the individual, and obviously their priorities at whatever time they're going to possibly be doing that dating in their life. So I hope that answers your question, Reverend Charles. So I am going to go ahead and ask my last question for the night, just because this has been such a lengthy conversation, but I truly, truly enjoyed it with all of you guys. Just heard so many different thought-provoking comments, which is awesome. And that's exactly what I wanted for this evening. And so my last question for you guys, in regards to women and youth, empowering them, just helping women to be the best versions of themselves that they can be. If there is one thing, so this is for every panel member, every panelist has to answer this. If there is one thing that you hope anybody listening today would take away from this conversation, what would it be? And it could be something that was mentioned before, something that wasn't mentioned, because there's lots of topics that we obviously wouldn't be able to cover in the time frame. That I did have questions for. You guys know the questions, but what would be the one thing that you would want everyone to kind of take away from this conversation in regards to helping women and paving that way for women to be the best versions of themselves?
Sure. I'll start, and I would tell any woman listening to value yourself, value your thoughts, value your body, value your wants and needs. Do not compromise that for anyone. Doesn't matter who they are. Your mental health, your body, your mind is so precious. And we need to, especially as women, we need to guard it and care for it, and not just hand it out to whosoever will comes around.
Thanks, Donna. Who's next?
I would say love yourself. Love yourself, get to know yourself, know that you have a voice, and know that it's okay to use it. Learn how to use your voice. For women of any age group, have somebody that you can always talk to. Know that it's okay to express yourself, cry, scream, laugh, all of the above, but find someone that you confide in and that you can talk to. Yes, talking to God is okay. Closing the closet door and crying and letting your all in all to him is okay, but you need somebody to confide in, and you need somebody that's always going to be there to give a listening ear, because no matter how strong we think we are, there's always something that's going to hinder you and pull you down at some point in your life, and you need that support system to help pull you back up.
Can I go?
Sure can.
Wow. What I would say, what piece I would like someone to take away. I would say that remember that we are fearfully and wonderfully made. That is Psalm 139 and verse 14. And in everything we do, God first and our self-care. Before I can empower, before I can love, before I can mentor, I have to take care of me. I have to, because if I am not taking care of myself, then I am no good to take care of anybody else. So God and self, and we are fearfully and wonderfully made. That's what I would like somebody to take away.
Awesome. Go ahead, Lisa.
I would like the women and men on this forum to remember Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And we can conquer this world. We can be empowered if we learn to explore and to plan. We will be empowered. In that understanding that no man is an island, we can't do anything and everything by ourselves, and never feel too ashamed or too big to ask for help or guidance, because every one of us needed help or guidance to get to where we are and where we continue to go in this world.
I just jump in if I can.
Go ahead, Shalene.
The two things I would say is love Jesus and seek therapy if you need it. The two are not mutually exclusive. So there's that. And also use your voice, advocate for yourself. Don't sit in silence, miserable because you're scared to speak out. Speak, tell the world your story, and share your story in a true way, because you don't know, whenever we speak to one another in situations like this, or when we're just hanging out and talking, you don't know how what you say will affect the person who's there listening to you. You might be the person that helps somebody get through something, or sparks something, inspires somebody. So learn to use your voice and support your community, support other people, and be kind to each other.
That's wonderful. Oh yeah, go ahead, Lolita.
Thank you. Very beautifully said, everyone. Just, I guess, to reiterate a lot of the things that all the ladies are saying, just taking the time to get to know yourself, taking the time to heal yourself, but ultimately and most importantly, taking the time to love yourself, and just knowing that you are enough. And of course, just off the back of that superhero, superwoman talk, just knowing that vulnerability is ultimately strength. It takes a lot to be vulnerable. It takes a lot to take yourself there, but it's ultimately the most strength.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead, Kim.
Okay. I'm also on the love tip. So Bell Hooks says love is a practice of freedom. And so love Jesus first, and then that will help you to love yourself. And take the time to be able to do that, and do that in a really good way, in an honest way, in a vulnerable way, in a transparent way. It's not always an easy thing, but find the joy in learning about yourself, right? I think we're afraid of those things that we're not great at. And it's okay. It's okay to find out about that. And then I would encourage everyone just to find the beauty that they're creating and cultivating in every day. I think we go through the days oftentimes just thinking we're just getting through, but there's always some moment that we can actually cultivate and create some form of beauty and joy in that moment, and to be able to be present enough to enjoy it and see what's been brought before us. So those would be the two things.
Awesome. So I guess that just leaves you, Chantal.
Oh, I would have to hope that everyone can take away something. Auntie Lynette, this one is for you. I want to say to the young folks on this call to not be ashamed to wear your church clothes on the bus. You no longer have to have it tied up in a bag and wear your crimply clothes to church. Don't be ashamed. As Auntie Lynette said, deny him and he will deny you. Also, to eliminate people who have a negative impact on your life. You want to surround yourself with people that bring value to your life. And also that it is okay to take time out for yourself to protect your mental health, and self-care is definitely important.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I think all of you ladies really said it all. Anything that I probably would have said, the self-care portion, the loving yourself, I think it's very important. Obviously, for those of us that have a relationship with God, to put him in the forefront of our lives. I think it's okay for us to take away the fact that it's all right for women to learn to be assertive and to speak for themselves, to have an opinion, to have that voice. So I appreciate all of the comments and all of the things that you want everyone to take away from tonight. So as we come down and get ready to close up, I just want to thank each and everyone so much for coming out tonight, for all of my panelists, for saying yes to just helping me explore and talk about how we can encourage and how we can pave the way for these young women that are growing up. They are our next generation. And a lot of the things that we talked about, a lot of it starts from home. And so I think that's important to point out for tonight too, is that just like Auntie Lynette said, first, we obviously have to take care of ourselves so that we can do it with anybody else. But a lot of it really starts from home. We start to learn how to love and how to take care of ourselves and how to treat others and all of those things that go along with growing up, right? It starts from the house, it starts from the home. So I think it's important for everyone to take that away, whether you're raising the next generation or not. And that doesn't necessarily mean your children. That could be, godchildren, grandchildren, godchildren, I don't know, anything really, nieces, adopted children, whatever. But just being able to talk to them and help them, being able to lend that listening ear, something that we tend to do as adults. We kind of shun them off sometimes. And like I said earlier in the conversation, it's this, shut up, sit down type rule. So I think it's important for everyone to kind of take that away. And then there was a comment also from JJ, who actually said, detox your inner self and build motivation and self-confidence. And I second that as well, just in regards, especially to the confidence part, teaching young girls and teaching, even there's women that struggle with confidence, right? So just learning to build that confidence to make you a better version of you. So again, I want to thank each and everyone that came out tonight and that assisted with all of the questions. You guys did wonderful. You guys had great comments. I love the conversation. I am going to pass it over at this point to Bishop Maurice. He's actually going to give us our closing prayer and bring us down. Thank you.
Wonderful tonight. I think you all deserve a wonderful round of applause. You all did an awesome job tonight. Awesome job. And I just want to empower you all a little more. Tonight, I listened to the topic. I liked the fact that young women can come and express themselves and speak about particular topics that really is affecting our young Black women. Most of us have probably seen that movie by Tyler Perry, Diary of a Mad Black Woman. And sometimes the stereotype is that when you see a Black woman, that's what you think about. But I like tonight that we have some empowering women on this panel tonight. I listened to briefly your biography, and I want to applaud all of you for a great job that you all are doing to be an example to others. I like where one of the panelists spoke about being out of the box, because that's so true. So many a times when you speak about women, and especially Black women, it's like they are enclosed. It's like they're not supposed to be there. It's like they are limited by their education or what they can do. But we have proven tonight here on this panel that we have Black women who can empower. And I spoke about, you heard you all speak about a mentor. And truly sometimes when you look at a mentor, you look at someone who maybe a CEO of a company or whatever. But sometimes you can bring that because even your mom coming out, I think it was one of the panelists that said that you have to be able to love yourself and take care of yourself before you can do that. And I think in the conversation I heard her said that growing up being probably a mom and having a kids and probably not having that man figure in the house, that everything she was doing for herself, that when that figure came in, she was still doing the stuff until the man figure had to say, hold up a little bit, I'm here to assist you. And so it is that sometimes we have to think, and this is great, this second segment, where we're speaking about the voice of the voiceless. And there are two closing thoughts I want to give before I bring the benediction. Angela Davis said, when Black women win victories, it is a boost for virtually every segment of society. And that's true. I remember when she received her award, she thanked all the women that she stand on their shoulders to get there. And that is so true. Another quote is, courage does not always roar. Sometimes courage is the little voice at the end of the day that says, I am trying tomorrow. And I just want to encourage all of us, more you women, I think you really need to take that time. I love where Sister Hathaway says that when she was going to go to church, before she could have drive, that she would have put the clothes in the bag because she wouldn't. And so sometimes, not only of that, sometimes it's because where we have grown up in society and in the environment we have grown up, it has put us in a shell. And I'm glad tonight, and I'm hoping that this could be a segment that could be done maybe every three months or every 6 months to really bring people out and let them be aware, especially our younger folks. So again, I say hats off to you. On behalf of our Apostolic Patriarch, Dr. Norris V. Ashton, on behalf of our Secretary General, Dr. Agatha Carrington, our Deputy Secretary, all our secretaries, the Spiritual Baptist Faith as a whole, I want to say thank you for a job well done. To you, Teacher Jones, thank you for taking this opportunity. Teacher Laura, thank you for coming up with the vision to put such a segment together. And I am hyped and excited to see what the last segment is going to be. And I want you all, to whatever your challenge is in life, and I know I'm saying this as a pastor, you got to somewhere, somehow, we understand that we have the degrees and the masters, but somewhere in all of that, if we don't put Christ first, somewhere in that equation, it's not going to work. And I know we are busy. I know we are going through a lot of things. We have young kids, but I implore us tonight to ensure that we take a moment out of our busy day to remember that where our grace and our mercy comes from. So again, I thank you on behalf of the Spiritual Baptist Faith and ask for a job well done. Let us bow our heads in prayer. Father and gracious God, we thank you tonight, O God, for an opportunity, O God, that we can come, O God, to hear a voice from the voiceless. Father, I thank you tonight, oh God, that these young women that you have empowered, that you have given your grace and your mercy to be able to come out, to be examples, oh God, for others to be able to follow. Father, wherever they are, could you increase their knowledge, increase their space, whatever they are going through, increase it, oh God, that they will be able to be these light beings that go forth. Father, I thank you for our Apostolic Patriarch. I thank you for our Secretary General, for all our secretaries. I thank you most of all tonight for Teacher Jones. I thank you tonight for Teacher Laura, oh God. Bless them, oh God. Give them a new vision that they can go forth, oh God, and empower those that are out there. We thank you tonight for our youths, oh God. Continue to bless them and keep them. And now may the saving grace of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, the love of God and the fellowship of the Holy Spirit, may it ever rest and abide with all of us through thanksgiving. In Jesus' name, amen.
And that's all, folks. So everybody have a pleasant good night. I hope you guys all enjoyed, and I will see you all, some of you all, next month for the next
night. Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone. Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good evening. It was a pleasure.